welcome back to my channel Dr. Rajiv Sikrodia Talks. So in today's lecture we will deal with the economic methodologies. So the objectives for today's session are methodologies used for economic analysis, then to discuss their merits and demerits, then finally we will study the interrelatedness of the approaches. So in the economic analysis we studied the two approaches. One is the deductive approach or deductive method, and another is the inductive method. So let's start with the deductive method. Actually this approach or this method uses the reasoning. So reasoning is based upon the universal fact, and the approach starts with the fact. So we have the universal fact. Take an example. If we say law of demand, so in a law of demand we say the quantity demanded is inversely proportional to the prices of the product. It is an statement. So this statement has to be checked in the light of the information available to us, and the statement which we have, so this statement will be deduced in the light of the components and the information available to us and the assumptions. In that case the approach will start from the universal to the individual fact and components. So from general to the specific, we will be moving from the general statement to the specific approach. So in that case we understand that this approach starts from the top to down or top to bottom approach. The merits of the deductive methods are one, it is simple to use and logical in approach. In mathematical derivations we always go for the deductions. So we have in the high school examinations or in 12th examinations we have studied that deduce the formula or deduce x plus y whole square. So in that case we deduce the formula x plus y square and come to their component. So it's a logical and systematic approach. Then we move to it is certain, because we are having the certain steps to follow, and clarity is there. The clarity of approach is there if the person doing the deducing the things understands how to deduce the formula, how to deduce the approach, he can easily go for it. So it's a systematic, scientific and universal, and it gives the universal results too, because if you do the things scientifically, the components, whatever the components are there, so if the components are with you, so that components can be derived with that deductions, and we are easily able to go for the universal results. So from the universal general fact to the component, then the effective conclusions can be drawn, because although we understand if the component x plus y whole square is there, so we are having the component x square plus y square plus 2xy. So these are the components which will be deduced in the steps. So effective conclusions can also be drawn, and similarly in the law of demand I have told you this is the demand which says that law of demand which says that keeping other factors constant, the demand is inversely proportional to the price of the products. So we are having the universal conclusion. We can have the effective conclusion that if the prices of the product will increase, the demand for the product will decrease in the normal cases, and if the assumptions are valid. Then suitable method is there. It is suitable to use. Then move to the demerits of the deductive methods. The demerits are lack of complete truth. See, lack of complete truth. Actually we have assumed a lot of the things in deducing the things. So assumptions are there. If we keep a lot of the assumptions and keep away from the realistic situations, so we are assuming too much, and on the basis of assumptions the things will be done. In that case we will not be able to find out the complete truth of the fact. For example, if we say I have already told you the law of demand, so in that case we have assumed a lot of the factors to be constant. If all the factors are kept constant, only the two variables are there, so in that case it will not be revealing the complete truth to the investigator. Then come to the second demerit of deductive method, that is the unreal and imaginary. Although I have told you the assumptions which we have made in the law of demand, we say that taste is constant, we say the price, the taste of the consumer, the trend of trend is constant, and income of the consumer constant, the population do not changes, and the substitutes are not available, the related goods are not there. So a lot of the assumptions we have done. In that case, what happens, the it makes the things imaginary and unrealistic too. So in that case, the assumptions are too much, and that's why the explanation part will be very less. Then come to the next demerit, it is the test of the truth not possible. Again, I will focus on this. The deductive method only uses the things which we have done. So in that case, the assumptions are there with us, all the assumptions are there, the wrong assumptions may be there. In that case, the truth cannot be revealed. Then next one is the lack of personal experience. If an investigator is new in deducing the formula, he cannot understand which factor has to vary, which factor has to kept constant. It creates a problem that the person is not experienced one, and he will keep those factors constant which should not be, which are having the high impact on the formula. So if we keep these factors constant, in that case the truth will not be revealed, and wrong assumptions may be done, and truth will not be revealed to the us. Next point is next methodology is the inductive approach. The deductive is all over. Now coming to the inductive approach. In the inductive approach, according to J.K. Mehta, what he says, it's a process of reasoning by which we seek to establish a causal relationship between two phenomena by an examination of cases in which many phenomena, both the nature of causes and effect, are indiscriminately mixed together. So in the inductive approach, we induce the things. What we induce in the science, in physical sciences or the natural sciences, in physics, we say the current has been induced to the rod. What has happened? The current has been induced to the second rod. What it is, because of the current, because of the rod. Rod is a good conductor of electricity, iron rod or steel rod, whatever. So in that case, it is inducing the current to the next rod, because of the induction effect only. So we have the cause. The cause is the current is induced in a one rod, and it will be induced to the next rod. So this is having the cause and effect relationship, and it is mixed together. And this approach moves from the bottom to top. So it is reverse of the deductive approach. In the deductive approach, what we have done, we have gone for the top to bottom, and in the inductive approach, this will be induced from bottom to top, and we are having the smaller components, we are having the smaller things, and we combine together and come to the common or universal fact. So this approach is reverse of the deductive approach. Now we will discuss the forms of inductive method. Forms of inductive method are two. One is experimental method, another is the statistical method. So in the experimental method, actually this method is not too much used in economic analysis. It is the part of the natural sciences. But yes, we use somewhere we use the empirical researches also. In that case, experimental method is used for checking the validity of the laws of generalization and the deductive reasoning. So as I have told you, it is resorting to the natural sciences or the natural facts, and the remark I have already put the remark on the slide that it is useful in the physical or the natural sciences. Then come to the statistical method. This statistical method is actually used in our economic analysis, in the vital statistics, and in the economic analysis of the birth rate, growth rate of the country, then calculation of the GDP, calculation of the employment rate, a lot of the demographic variables also. So many factors are there for the study of the statistical methods in the economic analysis, and it is useful in the economics for fixation of production and other targets too. Then come to the merits of the inductive method. What are the merits of the inductive method? Why the person should use the inductive method or the things, then the first point is the realistic conclusions are there. We can draw the realistic conclusions since the things have been taken from the grounds. So the grassroots level things are there. We are having the components and we combine the components one by one and come to the realistic conclusions. So the conclusions are all over the realistic one. Then second one is the test of conclusion. We check the conclusions on the basis of experimental method or the statistical method. So both are empirical, both are having their values, both are based on the scientific and mathematical analysis. So it is one of the good method by which we can go for the checking and validity of conclusions also. Then rectification of the error can be done. Since the things have been done, we understand where the fault has been done and where we are wrong. So we can rectify those errors too. Then next to merit is that helpful in investigation and researches. So as I have told you, the economic analysis is all about the mathematical and experimental one. And in econometrics also we have the facts and figures. So we check all those researches and we go for the investigation with the light of those information available to us. Then coming to the demerits of the inductive method, one demerit is the lack of universality. Lack of universality is there. So we are having the components, we try to come to the conclusion, but we lack the universality because of the assumptions made by us. Then complex method for the people who are not used to these methods, or maybe the experimental one or the statistical one. You require deep in-depth knowledge for those things. Otherwise, you will be having a lot of the problems to use that method because it requires the mathematical proceedings too. Then we can go for the biased conclusions. We have taken the things we have taken those components which we like. So we can go for the biased conclusions. Whatever the researcher wants, he draws those conclusions, which may not be exact one. So we have to see whether the conclusions have been drawn in exact way or are they biased one. Then the next demerit is the lack of usefulness in the social sciences. I have told you the experimental is not useful in the social sciences, particularly in economics. Then only the statistical method is useful for us. So it is having very less value use in the social sciences. Then limited scope, as the use is limited, then the limited scope is also there. We cannot use the inductive methods in all the social sciences. It is one of the drawback of the inductive method. Then imperfections. Next demerit is the imperfection due to use of only one risk approach. So imperfections due to use of only one method. You have to use both methods. You may be having doubt which method is best to use. I will say in social science we have to use inductive as well as deductive methods. They both are the complementary and have to be used in combination of each other. And they with the use of both the methods, we go for effective conclusions. Now it's all over for the today's lecture. Thank you for watching and please do visit.